This is 32805 Spotlight in Orlando.
Hi, everybody. It's LaWanda Gelza. Hey, welcome back to 32805 Spotlight. It's been a while. Hey, joining me always is my veteran journalist, David Porter. So what have we been doing this last week?
Yeah, hi. It's great to be back. Well, it's not. It'd be nice to say like, oh, we've just been taking some time off and relaxing, but we've been so busy doing some other things that we have been out in the street dealing with COVID-19, dealing with police violence. Just been super busy, but we're trying to get back into the swing of things. We're happy that you took time to join us today. So, again, we've been talking a lot about police violence. And so in this whole thing about police violence, then people start bringing up the whole thing about, well, yeah, the police are a problem, but what about black on black crime? I've been hearing that a lot. What is it that have you heard the same thing?
I've always heard that narrative to justify police violence against people of color. And I take offense to it because crime is crime. And so when I hear black on black crime, I'm hearing someone justify bad behavior for law enforcement in communities of color because we are doing crime against ourselves. Crime is committed usually against people from the same race. So when you hear black on black crime, you're trying to demonize a group of individuals, and we must over-police those communities because of black on black crime. But 76% of all murders are by Caucasian, white people killing white people, but you never hear white on white crime. You never hear Hispanic on Hispanic crime, brown on brown, but you always hear black on black crime. And so when I want people to say crime is crime, it is a shame that it happens in any community. But I also want to state this: when I hear about black on black crime, and when I hear about it from another community, I hear about gun violence when there's a school shooting. I hear about those type of things. So we have to be very careful allowing people to dictate how they stereotype our communities, because they will come back at a later date and use it against us.
Yeah, and you're so right. When you hear black on black, I was looking at one of those kind of crime shows on TV, kind of like one of those, I can't remember what it's called, those mystery shows, and they had one that was set here in Orlando. I mean, it's a real crime. A woman got killed down in the Delaney Park area, and basically it's her husband, who did this. I mean, so that's like a national thing. There's right now, as we're talking, there's a woman from Belle Isle, which is not far from where I'm sitting right now, who went missing, and they've been looking for her for like a couple of weeks now.
Yes, unfortunately, she's missing, yes.
Yeah, and so you're right. Generally, crime happens violent crime is normally a pretty intimate affair. I mean, there are people who know each other, may have relationships together, good or bad, but in terms of somebody traveling all the way from the other side of town to do you harm, again, people, when they're doing crime, even, some of these things like rape and stuff like that, they're actually operating in an area where they kind of know how I'm going to escape from there. They have a place to hide. They know they've been watching this person, so they kind of blend into the situation, everything like that, as well as crime that happens in our communities. But I think the other thing people don't look at is, they talk about the black on black crime and police crime. I would also argue that the police violence helps to kind of fuel that, because it's like the overall society uses violence as a way to control. We as black people have always had violence used against us. So don't be surprised when somebody in our own neighborhood says that is a way to exert power. Because we do it as a society. This whole country was founded on violence. It took this land away from some other people. They used violence to do that. The state uses violence not just as police, but as capital punishment. So it's a way of exerting your power. So some bad guys who may live in your neighborhood who are doing some bad things, the fact that they are using crime, they're basically emulating what they see everybody else doing. Right. I've been arguing in the last few years that a lot of the crime that we see in the communities is born out of frustration.
Frustration, yes, I agree.
Hopelessness. I mean,
yes.
So in a way that just like a little slight. So he said something bad about me, and somebody said something bad about me, I'm probably going to be kind of pissed off or something like that. I'm not considering killing them.
Yeah, it's like you disrespected me.
Yeah.
That's because you're saying he disrespected me. When someone's disrespectful to me, that doesn't mean I bring it in my world. I look at them and say that's them and how ignorant and unprofessional they are, because we've had politicians I know I have disrespected me. That don't mean I'm gonna run out and do something that can affect my family and my life. I just look at them and go, shame on you. I turn the ties back. Learn how to be professional. Learn how to talk to people. But because someone disrespects you or says something negative to you, it's not worth losing your life or you taking someone's life for it. It's words. Words do hurt, but a gun can end a life. Words don't end a life unless someone falsely accused somebody of a crime.
Yeah, so I think a lot comes from hopelessness, comes from not seeing any opportunity outside of the situation that they are in. I think some of it comes from inability to communicate. I mean, sometimes you talk to some people who are involved in stuff like this, and their communication skills in terms of how to explain what's bothering them, stuff like that. Also, in many communities, I'm fortunate to not be in that particular situation. People living with, and I have a cousin who's a psychologist, who's a Black psychologist, post-traumatic stress. Just the stuff that people go through all the time, builds up. So there are a lot of people who are living in situations and in neighborhoods where they may as well be in the kind of stress they're feeling is like being in a combat zone and stuff like that. So if the way they respond to something won't be appropriate, doesn't mean they're a bad person, but they respond in a way that was not appropriate, and it was kind of way over the top. Somebody disrespected me. Somebody stole some little thing from me, so I need to go out and kill them. But again, this is not something that's peculiar to the Black community. You can go and look at the news in states like Idaho and Nebraska and North and South Dakota. There ain't that many Black people living there. They still got crime. They still have prisons.
Yes, they do.
There's a show on cable called the what's it called? The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. These people live in this, and this is apparently a real white family, and their situation, to be honest with you, and the things they do is actually worse than I've actually seen any Black person, behave. And you would think, well, come on, you're white. Why are you getting this worked up? Because Black people, we go through worse stuff than this all the time, but they're just like tripping. So again, they are, people start talking about this Black on Black crime. I would argue that if you want to reduce crime in the Black community, like I said, it comes from frustration, lack of real opportunities, lack of access to capital.
Let's back that up. Real opportunity, not handouts or photo ops. Because, I'm getting tired of the book bags giveaway and all of that stuff. That is not opportunity. As a business owner of 42 years, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to policies and procedures that have been put in place to harm Black businesses. I know we'll probably talk about this at a later date, but economics is the driving engine of a strong community. And when people have good jobs, good paying jobs, and they're able to take care of their household, you'll be surprised how crime is reduced in any community. Because people usually take because they don't have, and they say, well, you got it, I'm gonna go get it. It's wrong, but I'm not giving them an excuse, because when it's hard times, some people you gotta work 2 or 3 or 4 jobs. But when you talk about hopelessness with this pandemic and everything, it's a lot of stress that's going on. A lot of people, let's look at what the governor did. He said, okay, anybody who's renting, you have to apply to see if you don't get evicted. He took away a protected order that every country has in place. Even those who rent or own homes, their mortgages you don't have to pay until the first of the year. It's just like you're looking at all of these things and you're wondering why people are stressed out right now, because our own government are out of touch with what is going on in our community. So when we deal with economics, yes, it has a lot to do with communities, but I have to go back to the narrative. I've been hearing Black on Black crime ever since I can remember. And I've heard it more and more justified. I want to go back to policing. I am not giving them a pass because of a crime in a community like zip code 32805. I didn't read off of Rio Grande by Texas, Pine Hill, that you got to come in now with extra force, and then everybody is treated like a criminal. And then when something goes wrong or someone is killed by you, oh, well, we was in a situation, we just didn't know what could happen because this is a bad community. These people, I've heard people refer to me as those people, these people, as if everybody in the community is criminals. And so would you be wondering what I want to call the police right now in this climate?
No.
To come. I have a business at Paramore. I don't know if I would want to call them late at night, because then I've got to justify if I'm the owner, have I broken into my own property? And all those stereotypes that they have put on the communities so they can over-police, they're going to come in with that pre-notion that I'm a criminal, and next thing I know, I'm probably the one being arrested or shot at or demonized or disrespected.
Yeah, you're so right, because they do use that, because then that becomes their whole reason for doing something, because they feared something. And Black people, we have always lived under this thing that we are considered to be more savage, more dangerous than anybody else. So every single time they shoot somebody, it was out of fear. They had a gentleman who was just killed in a small town in Texas who had a reputation of being a Black man, who had a reputation of being very friendly with cops. It was somewhat dismissive of Black Lives Matter. He was intervening in a domestic dispute in a store and getting everybody calmed down. When the police came, then he basically holds his hand out to shake the officer's hand, and he was repaid by being tased. And then when he got tased, then by his body convulsing, then the cop said he interpreted that as an aggressive movement, and he shot and killed him. So so we
that's
end up
Jonathan
feeding,
Price, correct, Mr. Jonathan Price.
Yeah, and so we end up feeding that
City,
own
Texas.
negative thing. And then again, to the whole thing of white people or Black people being somehow more violent than Black people, most of the mass shootings that you have seen in the news in the past 10 years, I would say like 90% of the perpetrators of those things have in fact been white males, okay? I mean, and white males who was like, why are you tripping? You had a guy who was a millionaire who goes up at the top of a hotel in Las Vegas in this luxury suite, and he basically rains fire on people at a concert below. What? You're a millionaire who owns an airplane, and all of a sudden, what about your life was that bad that would cause you to do that to people who've done nothing to you, to, quite frankly, a mostly white crowd, as a country western thing, killing all those people. That church in Texas where the guy goes in and shoots all the people, it's like, what is the matter with you? Most of the school shootings, the perpetrators, again, the young man in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I want to call him a man and not a teenager, because then they try to turn the thing around, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after the Price, what was the guy's name, Blake, who was shot. And, in that case, what you call all the people who got shot there, 2 were killed, 1 was badly wounded, they were all white. I mean, so.
We can talk about the Parkland High School shooting here in Florida. I mean, but the young man, they were able to capture him. They didn't shoot him dead, and he was armed. And I'm like, we're unarmed and we're shot dead because you perceive a cell phone as a gun,
let's
you
be
shoot
honest,
us in the back.
Shot in the back.
Yeah.
shot as a cow to pose no threat, zero threat at all. So
the threat is. Let's be honest, David, because we've been talking about this a while. Let's be honest. The threat has nothing to do with us having a gun or weapon. The threat is the color of our skin. Yeah. That's the threat to them. Yeah. Something we cannot change unless you surgically want to. That is the threat. So we got law enforcement officers who in our community that only have a high school degree, most of them, and most law enforcement agents, 760 hours of training. With all of their stereotypes and everything they come into, and they're making that decision on I feel threatened. Well, you feel threatened based on um, falsehoods. Because what I've been working on a lot of projects, it is amazing. Even when someone is shot and killed and they're unarmed, and we're talking Black Lives Matter, they're trying to call us terrorists. That
Yeah.
we're not no terrorist group. We're not no terrorist group. But the point is, look how you trying to frame the notion that we must watch them because they're out here with guns. No, we're showing up with signs that says Black Lives Matter. We're wearing our masks. We're saying our lives matter. But someone can ram a car into us and kill us. Oh, and your president, well, there's good on both sides. I mean, can you really understand that the most, I will say the group that has the most terrorists is the white supremacist group. That's a terrorist group.
No, let's be, and we can be very factual about this. As we're recording this, the FBI has just arrested 6 men in the state of Michigan who were planning to basically storm the Michigan Capitol, have an army of guys storm the Michigan Capitol and kidnap the governor of Michigan. These are people in militia. That is like something for some crazy, I don't know, how's that supposed to work? But again, those are, and the thing is, these white guys with guns, a lot of guns, and Michigan is an open carry state, have been showing up at the Capitol with long guns. I'm talking about with AR-15s and AK-47s and full battle dress and stuff like that. They've been doing that since this whole pandemic thing got started. And they're basically upset because the governor wanted people to want to shut down some businesses and stuff like that to help stop the spread of COVID, to wear a mask and stuff, and that's what they're tripping out over. And these people were actually planning to storm the Michigan Capitol in Lansing, Michigan, with arms and gunfire and kidnap the governor, who is also white. And it's like, what planet are you people on? And you're going to talk about us? You're going to talk about us?
The planet is they feel threatened that the way of life is changing. Well, your way of life was, you were bullies. You stole the country. You came here because you were fleeing not being able to practice the freedom of religion, but you brought our people here, enslaved us from 1619, and some of us feel like the slave patrol is just an extension of the police. The police is the slave patrol. I mean, it's you. And then, you know what? If we could have played this song, the late Michael Jackson, The Man in the Mirror. The man in the mirror is law enforcement, white supremacists. It's you. Look at yourself. Look at what you're trying to perpetuate in this community, in this country. Hate. I am better than you. I don't like you because of your skin color. You don't like yourself. And you think I got an opportunity. Oh, affirmative action. I've heard it all. But you know, David, we've been talking about this for a while, but we need to make sure our listening audiences know we're not going anywhere, that we're back, and that if someone comes up to you and talk about black on black crime, please don't get angry. Just re-educate them or redirect them in the right way. Because anytime
we need to make black on black crime, we need to make it one of those terms like, there was a time when I was young when we were Negroes. You call somebody a Negro today, you have a problem.
Yes, you do.
so we really need to make, that's just one of the terms, don't use them. And those are, like you said, that narrative and language, because that's made my whole living over language and words. Words mean something. Same thing you hear people talk about law and order. No, I'm not for law and order. I'm for justice and peace, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so law and order just means we're gonna come in there and kick your butt. We're gonna come in there and kill you. And stuff like that. Nazi Germany was all about law and order, okay?
And
so we need to be about, just because that's what the guy in the Attorney General in Kentucky tried to talk about, about law and order and all kind of stuff like that. There was no justice there for Breonna Taylor. We're talking about justice, okay? So we really need to make, so like you said, people need to be educated, need to think about what those words are and re-educate people when they try to use them to point out, I'm not for a whole bunch of mayhem and stuff like that, but you can't be doing a whole bunch of mayhem to me and don't expect I'm going to respond to it
Right.
in kind, I'm not trying to go there. And just like you said, if you want to do something about some of the violence that's going on, and particularly in some of our most challenged communities and stuff like that, then you need to extend more opportunities there. Like you said, not book bags. I'm talking about venture capital. There are a lot of smart people. There are a lot of entrepreneurial and smart people who live in challenged communities. They just need access to capital to get the things done.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I'm going to end on this note. Stop buying into the narrative. I'm not, like you said, when you used to call us Negroes, if you do it today, if someone referred to black on black crime, just give them the look like, stop redirecting and giving law enforcement permission to come in our communities and over-police us. We're not savages. Stop it. And let them know, I don't care if it's an African-American police officer, it doesn't matter. I see law enforcement is all blue. I don't separate their race. I look at the color, what they're wearing. They're blue. Stop coming in. Well, if y'all what? So please, everybody, I am so sorry about the increase of crime that's being reported in Pine Hills and other communities. The 3-year-old young kid that lost his life. But you need to ask your media one thing. Did you hear about all the other crime and all the other things that happen on the east side of town? And I guarantee you don't. So you have to look into the media also with the narrative that they always, it used to be when there was somebody hurt or something happened, they would go and find Mr. Yay JJ, the one that couldn't say hello, and interview him to give that perpetration that's how everybody in the community felt or talked or whatever. And it's always be careful how you're portrayed by media and mainstream media, because we're not mainstream. We're 32805 Spotlight, and there's a reason why we're talking to you today and giving the perspective from the community, because we're on the grounds. We're grassroots. We're there with the community because we are a part of the community. So wake up,
you're right.
everybody.
You're right.
Stay vigilant. Make sure you understand crime is crime, but be safe out here. We are not going anywhere. We will be back. I hope you missed us because we missed you. So we look forward to talking to you. David, would you like to add anything else?
Yeah, so again, just thanks for joining us. Thanks for welcoming us back. And please follow us on 32805orlnews.com website, or you can also find this podcast by Googling us at 32805 Spotlight. So please keep watching out for us. We have a lot of great stuff coming for you.
We do. I'm so happy to be back. See you next time. 32805 Spotlight. LaWanna Gelser signing off.
Join us every week. The Revolution is live on the 32805 Spotlight in Orlando.